Friends, welcome to my workplace at Ranaghat, West Bengal, India. This is SICS, that is small incision cataract surgery for a hard cataract. I can do Phaco emulsification in this case, but I sometimes do SICS to teach this beautiful technique to young colleagues and residents. Superior rectus bridal suture has been passed by this time. Ocular surface has been thoroughly irrigated beforehand by povidone iodine and ringer lactate. And now, since this is a hard cataract, I am planning an incision of about 8 mm. Conjunctival peritomy is being done. First, a radial cut. I am seated superiorly, so this is the superior aspect of the limbus, and peritomy has been done from say 10:30 o'clock to 2 o'clock. And now I haven't done any cautery. I have asked my assistant to keep on irrigating so that I can keep on doing what I want to do. It is always better to preserve the existing blood vessels and capillaries. I got this idea from Dr. Deepak Megur of Bidar, Karnataka. See how the tunnel is being made. I go into clear cornea and come back and to the left. In this way, the tunnel on the left side, the left half of the tunnel is being made. My assistant is irrigating all the time, and I am able to do the tunnel very comfortably. And now from midpoint to the right side, at this time the crescent blade is manipulated in such a way that the thickness of the anterior wall of the tunnel remains same, and this is the corneal valve. About 1.5 mm of corneal valve is a must to get a self-sealing wound. Yes, the tunnel is made, and now we are going to do capsulorhexis. This is a stab incision at around 8:45 o'clock, and a big air bubble is injected, and these are multiple air bubbles, and trypan blue 0.06% dye is applied over the anterior capsule, and then the dye is washed out with ringer lactate or BSS. In this case I am using BSS. And now 2% SPMC is injected, and the antechamber is filled up with this viscoelastic substance, and it is applied over the cornea for a better visibility. And now see how the rhexis is being done with the cystitome. Big flap, flip the flap so that the undersurface is facing the cornea now, and now I guide this big flap in such a way that a round rhexis is done. And I have not chosen to do a very large rhexis in this case, and this is about a rhexis of 5.5 mm or so. We will see that the optic will be covered by the capsule, so this is a rhexis of about 5.5 mm. Now the tunnel is being opened. The internal opening is made from one end to the other end, And now hydrodissection is done. Since the rhexis is small, I am not expecting that by hydrodissection itself it will prolapse into the anterior chamber, and it is not. It is not prolapsing into the anterior chamber by hydrodissection. So what I do, I inject visco, that is 2% HPMC again, and take 2 Sinskey hooks, one in my right hand, another one in my left hand. And now see how we can prolapse the nucleus out of the bag very easily by these two instruments. The nucleus is rotated and the second instrument supports the nucleus and it comes out very easily. And now visco is applied both in front and behind the nucleus, and this is an irrigating vectis. It is attached to a bottle and it goes behind the lens mass, and very easily the nucleus is delivered. And now this is 2% HPMC, and now I use a Simcoe cannula to remove this cortex. At this time I am using OmniGlow for removal of the cortex. So the cortical cleanup is done very nicely by a 23G Simcoe cannula. Go through the side port and remove the cortex from superior aspect from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Now we can see the rhexis margin very nicely, and the cortical cleanup is also done very nicely. And now is the time to implant an intraocular lens. This is cleaning of some cells from the undersurface of the anterior capsular rim. And now 2% HPMC is injected to fill up the bag and the anterior chamber, and then by the time the lens is being ready, getting ready, I am placing this releasable suture so that apposition of conjunctiva to the limbus will be very easy. Now the lens is ready by this time, and the lens is implanted in the bag. The leading haptic goes into the bag, and the trailing haptic is also placed in the capsular bag. And now we can see that the rhexis is overlapping the optic, so it is a nice adequate sized rhexis. And now visco cleanup is done. Viscoelastic substance is being irrigated out from anterior chamber and from the capsular bag. I take a irrigating probe also. It is attached to a bottle and irrigate the anterior chamber as well as the capsular bag. I form the anterior chamber, and now I want to check if I need to put any suture at the main wound or not. I make the main wound dry. There is no leakage. Put some pressure on the glove. Still there is no leakage. So this is a self-sealing wound. And our only job that we have to do is, this is moxifloxacin. The only job is to do a final lavage, close the side port very nicely by hydrating corneal stroma on either side of this stab wound. And this is the final lavage of the anterior chamber. Yes, moxi has been applied, and there is a lot of moxi actually, and some amount of moxi which is in front of the IOL is being removed, but a lot of moxi is still there behind the IOL. And now this is, the antechamber has been formed, but I want to make the intraocular pressure on the higher side, so I put some more fluid through the side port in this way. And now I inject gentamicin and dexamethasone, and the conjunctiva gets opposed to the limbus. Over and above, I put this releasable suture. So this is a very nice surgery. No blood vessel has been destroyed because cautery has not been done. A very nice lens has been put in the capsular bag. Thank you very much for your attention. Hope this video will help you in developing your surgical skills. Be a great surgeon and serve your patients with love, respect, empathy, and great surgical competence.